This is Amos 1 and 11. And it says, Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever. I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders, the great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shati from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this precept was inspired by quite a few videos, but 2 in particular. And one is dealing with the deportation of, actually both of them deal with the deportation of immigrants, but the videos would better tell you than I can explain it. So let's get this first video that's queued up. They're not too long. They're about a minute and a half. So we'll let them play and then we'll get some scripture.
A truly disastrous order. The Supreme Court just issued a truly disastrous order that allows the Trump administration to send people to third countries where they've never been and might not have even heard of. This is the third country removal case where the government was trying to send people to kind of random countries without giving them sufficient notice that they were about to be sent there. Among the places the government tried to send people was Libya, specifically prisons in Libya, where individuals are at risk of being sold into slavery. They also sent people to Sudan, a place the State Department views as so dangerous, only its most critical personnel can stay there. As Justice Sotomayor's dissent noted, the government actually continued to send people to third countries after a district court had said, you can't do that until you provide them with adequate notice. They violated a court order, and now the United States Supreme Court says, yep, you don't have to follow that court order. Justice Sotomayor wrote that the government's conduct resembles an arsonist who calls 911 on firefighters for violating a noise ordinance. She also says the Republican justices seem to think the executive branch is harmed anytime it can't do something it wants to do. And she closes her dissent by warning that thousands of people will experience violence in far-flung places with no due process of law. Again, the government was trying to send people to Sudan and Libya, places they had never been, even though they would face severe risks of violence there. This decision is outrageous. And the Republican justices didn't even bother to explain why they are going to allow the Trump administration to send people to third countries. The Supreme Court just issued.
They just like, we just don't give a damn anymore. We're to do what we need to do to get rid of this so-called immigration problem. All right? And speaking of anything to do, we're going to tune into this second video.
Well, in Florida, Mark, the state is moving ahead with plans to turn a field in the Everglades into an immigration detention center. They call it Alligator Alcatraz. It got that name because officials say they won't need a lot of security. The area is surrounded by alligators and pythons, among other things. The attorney general there wrote this: in Florida, the swamp means something different. What's your reaction to the way they're talking about keeping migrants in check with alligators?
Well, this is very consistent with the sort of language and approach that the MAGA world and Trump are taking on the issue of immigration. And as I said, they feel like they have incredible latitude to use this kind of language that's cruel and unusual. But they have no fear of repercussions because, frankly, they don't get much from the voters on this issue.
Well, there were protests in Florida after the original announcement. It was organized by a combination of local groups and some Native Americans. So our reporters down there talked to some of those folks. Here's what they said.
This is all about developmental and governmental greed.
They're using a highly controversial issue like this to try to get people to not remember why we protected this site in the first place.
It's rather unkind for people to be stationed out here, specifically if, from what I've seen, people aren't getting what they need in these detention centers. If there is an AC, if there isn't access to clean water, it will just be torture.
Exactly. It'll be straight torture. I saw another video where it was talking about a woman, a Northern Kingdom mommy, got put in a detention center. all right, and she was pregnant, and she was saying, hey, I need some help for my baby. I need to get some things done. And the guards ignored her, fed her food with roaches in it, wouldn't give her an ultrasound, nothing. Well, while being in this detention center, she had a premature incident where now her child is in the spirit world. All right. This is for you Northern Kingdom. You all don't realize this is about to get very ugly for you all. They put you in a situation where you cannot escape. If you escape from one of these facilities in Florida, now you have to fight through alligators and pythons. And you see, it ain't nothing for this devil to leave you up to the alligators. It's not like he hasn't done it before with alligator bait and many other things. Okay? Not only that, transporting you to other countries where you don't even belong, scattering you even more away from your family. And this is still just the beginning of this devil's wrath on you, Northern Kingdom. This is why I got that Amos 1:11. It says, thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. Right. And why is he pursuing you, Northern Kingdom, with the sword and without pity? Because you all are the Israelites of the Bible. The very same thing that you all refuse to accept is the main reason why this guy is putting so much hell on you all. Because though you all have forgotten who you are and refuse to come back to you who you are, this devil has not. And even though many of his underlings, these low-level Edomites, may not know that they're Edomites and you all are Israel, he has still managed to make sure that he still puts that ancient hatred within all of you all. As when we go to Genesis, what's that, the 27th chapter? And I'm going to start at 39, because you got to get the reason why he's upset. Old bad Uncle Esau. It says, and Isaac his father, all right, because just as Isaac was our father, okay, Isaac was also Esau's father, okay. It says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above, and by the sword shalt thou live. Okay, what did we just read in Amos? He did pursue his brother with the sword. Right. Esau is just merely using his blessing. And it says, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So when you read earlier in this story to this point, you will realize that Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. And now Esau, realizing what he did, he tried to see if there was another blessing like that. But Isaac told him, I can't bless you more than that. So he gave him a temporary blessing, something that eventually was going to fade. Instead of having the kingdom and all the glory that came with the kingdom, Esau would have a temporary kingdom of the world. And realizing that, this is why we come to verse 41. And it says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning my father are at hand. Meaning that he knew that one day that his father would die. Because what he wanted to do, he knew he couldn't do that while Isaac was still alive, because he knew Isaac would never forgive him. It says, the days of mourning my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Well, we all know that word slay means to kill. Well, or let's get it specifically in the blue letter. Just so we can be on point with this. Let's see. Harak, to get, to kill, to slay, murder, destroy, ruin, to be killed, be slain. It says to smite with deadly intent, destroy, out of hand, kill, murder, put to death, make slaughter, slay, surely. Right. So he said, the days of mourning my father are upon him, are at hand. Then will he kill his brother. What's that again? He will kill with deadly intent. He will smite with deadly intent his brother Jacob. Isn't that what Esau's doing right now? He is slaying with deadly intent, putting you all in these detention camps, transporting you to places that you have absolutely no clue where they are or how to get back from. Like that older Edomite lady said, they're getting taken to places where they could be killed or be used as slaves, or God knows what else. And if it's not that, like I told you, the one video, the woman lost her baby because the guards refused to give her help. And then you go into Florida, they're like, yeah, you can try to escape, but good luck with those alligators and them pythons, and God knows what other deadly and poisonous or venomous thing is out there. All right? This is the whole part in Amos where it says that he had cast off all pity. Let's look at that. It said, because he did pursue his brother with the sword and did cast off all pity. You got to be a complete merciless and a heartless person to just let a pregnant woman be inside of a detention center and just say, you know what? We don't care if your baby goes to the spirit world. We don't care if we don't get an ultrasound. As long as we take your vital signs, run some blood tests, and if you don't want to eat the food, that's just on you. I mean, that's horrible. Then you're getting even more displaced from your family. It's not like they take you to South America. Man, they take you across the world. or leaving you to the fate you could rot in a detention center, or you can be an alligator's next meal. They're like, well, shit, if you die, you die. You should not have tried to escape. As the scripture said, he did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually. He kept his wrath forever. Because when you look at bad Uncle Esau's track record, this, as the scripture says in Ecclesiastes, there is nothing new under the sun. It is the same with bad Uncle Esau's mentality. There is nothing new under the sun. You read the scripture, it tells you how he would put to death the old people, the women and the children in Israel when we were traveling, or when we went to war. He would come in and put to death the old people, the women and the children. All right. The fact that during the time when you read the book of the Maccabees, this guy never kept his word, set up a banquet hall event, and then put one of the Maccabees brothers to death. Oh yes, let me come. Somebody bring this young child named Yahushua. I would like to come worship him. But knowing that he was a damn devil, all right, the wise men didn't do such a thing. So what did Herod do? He put all the babies to and under to death. Fast forward. Chattel slavery. Lynchings, burnings, being eaten. Being experimented on purposely for biological weaponry. I mean, the list just goes on. And this is what he's doing to the northern kingdom. Wait till Esau gets on you, southern kingdom, you niggers. You ain't seen nothing yet. But the thing is, the beautiful thing about all this, is that, as the scripture says, man, this devil thought that the Lord was all together as them. All right, these devils think that the Lord's dealing with them, but he's really not. Not as for the good in the grand scheme of things, but they are being used by the Lord. But not for the way that they think they are. They think the Lord is dealing with them in a positive way. Oh no. And because of that, when this devil fulfills his measure, the Lord said this. I forgot how it's worded. It's along the lines of Yep. James 2:13. It says, "For he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment." Right. See, this devil doesn't as the scripture said, these devils did not consider the latter end because they thought that the Lord was like unto them. See, they think that they're going to actually be able to get away with this, get back on top, and establish their new world order. But the Lord's like, no. I've appointed the bounds that you cannot pass. So when you cease to spoil, you're going to get spoiled. And just like you had no mercy on anybody, especially my people, your judgment is to get no mercy. So that's all I wanted to say on this. I hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're going to say Shalom.